first of all, before I start talking about West Ham's transfer news, or lack thereof, actually, we do have some players leaving. Let me just apologise for yesterday's video. Unbeknownst to me, my dog, there he is, the guilty, but his name's Baggins. He spent yesterday's video licking his Niagaras all the way through. So I've got to apologise, I was oblivious to it, and it was only really when I did the editing afterwards that I realised he was doing it. Don't judge him too much, though. He's actually not had he had an operation not long ago, and he just had his stitches out, and he had one of those cone things off his head. So I'd just taken it off to give him a little bit of respite, and he was taking full advantage. He'd not seen his Niagaras in quite a while, so we'll allow him that one. Talking about balls, I'm not sure West Ham are really sure. Well, they're managing to balls up the transfer window at the moment. I'm very, very unimpressed. So as things stand, as we're very, very late right now on a Tuesday night, we've rejected a bid from Crystal Palace for Ben Johnson. Rightly so, by the way, rightly so. There's no point in spending any great deal of time talking about that. It's right to reject it. What we've got to do now is make sure we sign this guy up to a contract, because the squad is looking incredibly thin. In terms of team news, it does look as if Lucas Paquetá is not going to be available for the game against Bournemouth, which is going to throw up a little bit of an interesting problem. And that is what's going to happen on the left wing. Now, you'd have probably seen myself and Gio's preview by now. If you haven't done, go and check it out on the main channel. We both suggested that if there is no Lucas Paquetá, David Moyes is probably going to be tempted to play James Ward-Prowse on the left, and we will see all four central midfielders play in this game. Look, I guess needs must, but it really doesn't have to be this way. We should have made signings by now, and the fact that we've left it so late in the window is actually quite damning indeed. I think, well, we'll deal with Said Benrahma in a minute, because Said Benrahma is off. It was a will he, won't he, and it looks like he will now, although the nature of the deal has changed somewhat. With the situation we are in terms of bringing players in is we're still trying to resurrect the deal for Ibrahim Osman. We're still trying to resurrect the deal for Jota. The fact that I'm using the word resurrect is a damning indictment. It really is. At the risk of repeating myself, why is this such a surprise? Why have we got to the I know it's not the 28th anymore, but the 28th seemed to be the date where West Ham realised that there might be some tax issues in and around signing Jota from Saudi Arabia. I honestly wouldn't mind, but this guy's name has been in the news in terms of West Ham news. Sky Sports have been talking about him in association with West Ham. Talk Sport have, Fabrizio Romano, all the big hitters, right? So I'm saying it's not just on a West Ham level; it's on a national level. This guy, that West Ham were interested in this guy. Why have we got to the 28th and then just only? Hold on a second. It might be a little bit more complicated than it needed to be. This deal. It goes back to the Ibrahim Osman one as well, which is, just begs the question there really, which is. Why didn't we know? Why did it take us until the end of January to find out he had two agents, that his representation was complicated? And even if you dismiss, for instance, that we were negotiating with the wrong agent, just knowing that he had a new agent and there was a conflict between the new agent and the old agent would make you realise, hold on a second, this is going to be a tricky deal to do. And this is why it's not just about scouting players, it's about due diligence as well. We've heard for years about this Moyes MOT. I'm not pinning this on Moyes, by the way. I think Moyes gets blamed for an awful lot. I'm not pinning this on him, but I just mean it's something you're supposed to do with footballers, do your due diligence. So, yeah, you scout them. And that's for footballing stuff. What position can they play in? Are they going to be able to adapt to your team? So on and so forth. All that other stuff. But you'd think things like, are we going to be able to sign this player? Are we going to be able to get his registration? Would be quite high up the list before you even entered into a negotiation. But this is my whole point. This stuff should really be done in November, October, November, December. It's a farce, and it's just same old with West Ham, really. How we found ourselves in this situation, I don't know. I'm going to release this video, sort of early Wednesday, and hope that during the day I can, I'll do more videos today. I absolutely will. I'm sort of on standby, as it were, to do updates throughout the day. And I hope I can give you some. I hope I can say, such and such is over for a medical. But I'm not hopeful, and it's looking pretty shoddy. And this plays into some of the other things. So let's just get on to Benrahma before we get on to Fornals. So Benrahma's in the situation whereby he doesn't want to sign permanently for Lyon. I understand that. They're in a relegation battle. Looking at the composition of their squad, and you've got to think this is a team that we were facing in the knockout rounds of the Europa League, a couple of years ago, season before last. And there they are in a situation whereby they might get relegated. I think they lost 3-2 in their last game. And did you know that Gift Oban, who was at Ghent, we weren't linked with him per se. I think it was a load of us saying, "Oh, we should sign him. We should sign him." He's already being accused as a bad egg, actually, and he's kicked off already since he's been there. He's only played 45 minutes, and he's kicked off already. So maybe, just maybe, that is one example of the due diligence working in that sense. Maybe that would explain why we weren't ever really in for him. But I can understand why Said Benrahma wouldn't want to sign permanently for a team that might be threatened with relegation. So actually, he's going on loan for $5 million, a $5 million loan fee, and then they have an option, not an obligation. Lyon have an option to buy for $10 million afterwards. So we'd get our 15 anyway. I think it's really good. Basically, if it works out, we get our 15. If it doesn't work out, we've got a $5 million loan fee. We can probably sell him for over 10 again. So it may well work out. But it's going to leave us in a bit of a pickle with regard to not enough players, which I think feeds into to Pablo Fornals. I think we've got to do what we've got to do for West Ham. But I do feel sorry for Fornals because we may have to break his heart again. And that's down to, the reason we'd break his heart is down to the negligence of the West Ham's recruitment. When I say break his heart for a second time, Pablo Fornals thought he was going to be able to sign a pre-contract agreement right now, or even leave West Ham. Fornals wants to play football now. He loves West Ham, but he just wants to play football. He thought he would be out of here by now, and then West Ham went and activated another year on his contract. I mean, I think he was pretty gutted by that because he thought, I'm going to have to wait even longer to get out of the club. As it turns out, West Ham activated a clause and said, you know what, we will try and get you out of here. So he's now full of hope that he's going to go and join Real Betis. So go back home, go back to Spain, play for a manager in Pellegrini who really rates him. So the last 2 or 3 days, as I understand it, Fornals been clearing out his we don't know whether he's got a mansion or an apartment, much like Said Benrahma, but wherever he lives, he's been clearing out his gaff and he's looking to head over to Spain. There's every possibility that West Ham might turn around and say, "Whoa, hold on, Pablo, we're not sure we can let you go yet." I would understand West Ham's reasoning for doing it, but I would also understand why Fornals would be very, very disappointed and very upset. And that's just West Ham's incompetence. And the whole reason would be because we weren't able to sign Jota and we weren't able to sign Ibrahim Osman. And what are the reasons why we weren't able to sign any of those 2 players? It will be because we've not done our due diligence, because everything came as a surprise, because we left everything so late in the window that when it came to the fact that we found out that Osman was in dispute with his agent, we found out Jota's employment situation and tax situation was complicated, we'd left ourselves no time to do it. Had we found that out in December, we'd have got to the start of January, we could have ironed this stuff out, we could have got the transfers over the line, would have allowed us to sell Benrahma earlier, would have allowed us to let Fornals go. The world would have been a bit of a happy place. You also got to worry a little bit for Fornals, which is if Betis can't get him in, then maybe, just maybe, they spend the last day trying to get somebody else in and maybe he doesn't get his transfer at all. The whole thing's a mess. West Ham don't seem to learn anything. I thought this is gone by the time we brought in a director of football. Look, it's nothing new. I've been saying that for the past 2 or 3 days, of course. But it does seem like a mess. Hopefully I'm back later. Hopefully I've got some good news. But I'm not just peddling out bad news for the sake of it. I was very excited when I announced that I was very excited that we'd signed Calvin Phillips. I just thought there was more to come after that. So I'm not peddling out bad news for the sake of it. This is just what's happening now. This is the state of affairs at the point where I record this video. Hopefully it'll all change very, very quickly. Hopefully we can get to a point where we're signing some players. We better do it bloody sharpish. But as for now, West Ham's transfer window hangs in the balance.